The day started like any other. My squad gathered at dawn, the chill of early morning clinging to our uniforms as we lined up for a briefing. The air was thick with anticipation, each of us eager to prove ourselves during this survival exercise. We had trained for weeks, learning to navigate, forage, and survive in the wild. Yet, as I looked around at my comrades, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Sergeant Mitchell stood before us, his stern face illuminated by the weak morning sun filtering through the trees. He unfurled a map, pointing out our starting point and the designated return location. The rules were simple: work in pairs, rely on your compass, and report any issues immediately. He emphasized that the woods could be unforgiving, and we needed to remain vigilant. I was paired with Ryan, my closest friend in the squad. As we set off into the forest, the weight of our packs felt comforting, a reminder that we were prepared for whatever lay ahead. The sounds of the forest surrounded us, birds chirping, leaves rustling in the wind, and the distant trickle of a stream. "Just stick together, and we'll be fine," Ryan said, trying to reassure me. I nodded, though a nagging anxiety lingered in the back of my mind. We walked for hours, navigating the dense underbrush and marking our path with small landmarks. The forest felt alive, its vibrant greens contrasting sharply with the earthy browns of the ground. Everything seemed normal, yet I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. It was a sensation that clung to me, a shadow following my every step. As the sun rose higher, we decided to take a break. We found a small clearing and sat on a fallen log, sipping water and discussing our strategy for the rest of the day. "Let's keep moving toward that ridge," Ryan suggested, pointing to a distant line of trees that stood taller than the rest. "It'll give us a good view of the area." I agreed, though I felt an inexplicable hesitation. It was as if the forest itself was urging us to stay put, to heed some unspoken warning. But we pressed on, motivated by our training and the thrill of adventure. As we hiked deeper into the woods, a distant shout pierced the air. It was Tom, one of our fellow recruits. We exchanged worried glances, and instinctively, we rushed toward the sound. "Tom! Where are you?" we called out, but our voices seemed to vanish into the vastness of the forest. We followed the echoes of his voice, but the deeper we went, the fainter it became. When we reached a small ravine, the echoes of Tom's calls faded to silence. He was nowhere in sight. My heart raced with anxiety as I scanned the area, hoping to catch a glimpse of him. "Where could he have gone?" Ryan asked, his voice thick with worry. "I don't know, but we need to find him," I replied, trying to keep my composure. After several minutes of searching, it became clear that Tom had vanished. Panic set in as we contemplated our next steps. We had been warned about the dangers of the woods, how easy it was to lose your way. I suggested we split up, thinking that covering more ground might increase our chances of finding him. "Let's meet back here in half an hour," Ryan agreed, though I could see the concern in his eyes. As I ventured into the woods alone, the atmosphere changed. The sunlight filtered through the leaves in a way that felt unnatural, casting long, distorted shadows. I called out for Tom, but only the rustle of leaves answered me. The sense of isolation pressed down on me, thick and suffocating. I stumbled upon a small clearing, one I had never seen before. In the center lay a large stone, weathered and covered in moss. It was odd, out of place in the otherwise uniform landscape. As I approached it, a chill ran down my spine. The air felt charged, as if the very atmosphere held its breath. I crouched down, examining the stone. It was etched with strange markings, symbols that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. I ran my fingers over the surface, feeling an inexplicable connection to it. Suddenly, I heard a faint whisper, so soft I thought I had imagined it. "Help me." The voice was chilling. I glanced around, heart racing, but there was no one there. I shook my head, trying to dispel the growing fear. It was just my mind playing tricks on me, I told myself. I turned to leave, but the whispers grew louder, swirling around me, tugging at my consciousness. "Help me." I stumbled backward, my pulse quickening. The forest felt alive, closing in on me. I ran, branches whipping at my face, desperate to escape the suffocating atmosphere. I needed to find Ryan, needed to get out of this place. After what felt like hours, I broke through the underbrush and found myself back in the ravine where we had last called for Tom. Ryan was waiting, worry etched on his face. "I thought you were lost," he said, relief flooding his features. "I heard something," I panted, struggling to catch my breath. It was Tom's voice, I swear. "What do you mean?" Ryan asked, his brow furrowing. "I found this stone, it had strange markings. And I heard whispers. It was like the forest was trying to tell me something." Ryan looked skeptical but concerned. "We need to get back. The others will be looking for us." As we began retracing our steps, the forest grew darker, the shadows lengthening. Every sound felt amplified, the snap of a twig, the rustle of leaves. I glanced over my shoulder frequently, half expecting to see something lurking just out of sight. Finally, we reached the edge of the woods, where the other recruits were gathered. Their faces were grim, and I felt a knot form in my stomach. "What happened?" I asked one of the other recruits, but they exchanged worried glances. "Tom's still missing. We've searched everywhere," one of them replied. The reality of the situation hit me like a punch to the gut. We had failed to find him. I felt a deep sense of guilt wash over me, a weight I couldn't shake. "We need to regroup and report this," Ryan said, his voice steady. "We can't leave him out there." As we prepared to head back into the woods with a search party, I couldn't shake the feeling that the forest held more secrets than we understood. The whispers haunted me, a chilling reminder of what lay beyond our comprehension. With a larger group assembled, we re-entered the woods, armed with flashlights and the determination to find Tom. The atmosphere felt different this time, thicker, charged with a tension I couldn't explain. The shadows danced around us as we moved deeper into the forest, the path ahead obscured by underbrush. "Stay close," Sergeant Mitchell instructed, his voice low and commanding. "We'll divide into teams and cover more ground." Ryan and I were paired with another recruit, Sarah. As we ventured further, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching us. The whispers returned, growing louder as if beckoning us deeper into the woods. "Do you hear that?" I asked Ryan, my voice barely above a whisper. "Hear what?" he replied, glancing around. "The whispers. It's like they're calling out for help." Sarah raised an eyebrow, skepticism etched on her face. "You're just spooked from the earlier search. It's probably just the wind." But as we continued, the whispers intensified, swirling around us. The shadows shifted in a way that felt almost intentional, guiding our steps. I felt an urge to follow them, an inexplicable pull that made my heart race. Suddenly, we stumbled upon the clearing where I had found the stone earlier. My breath caught in my throat as I recognized it. "This is where I heard Tom's voice," I said, feeling a sense of déjà vu wash over me. "Are you sure?" Ryan asked, concern creasing his brow. "I'm certain. This stone, it's the same one I saw before." We approached the stone, and the markings appeared even more vivid in the dim light. I reached out to touch it, and as my fingers brushed the surface, a wave of energy coursed through me, filling my mind with images, fragments of memories that didn't belong to me. I gasped, pulling my hand back. The whispers crescendoed, drowning out my thoughts. Panic surged within me as I felt the ground shift beneath my feet. "Jake!" Ryan shouted, but his voice was drowned out by the chaos in my mind. The world around me blurred, and I stumbled back, hitting the ground. The whispers became a cacophony, overwhelming my senses. I closed my eyes, trying to block it out, but the voices continued, weaving tales of loss and despair. "Help me! find me. I opened my eyes, and the clearing seemed to pulse with energy. Shadows flickered at the edge of my vision, darting in and out like specters. It was as if the forest itself was alive, eager to reveal its secrets. "Jake, snap out of it." Ryan's voice cut through the chaos. With a sudden clarity, I rose to my feet, gasping for air. The whispers receded, leaving only an echo behind. I looked around, my heart racing. "What just happened?" Sarah asked, her eyes wide with fear. "I don't know," I admitted, still shaken. "But we need to leave this place. It's not safe." Scene 5, The Escape. We retraced our steps, moving quickly through the woods. The air felt heavier, and I could sense the forest closing in around us. My heart raced as I recalled the voices, the energy that had surged through me. I felt a deep sense of foreboding, as if we were being pursued by something unseen. As we reached a familiar path, the whispers returned, weaving through the trees like a sinister wind. I could barely keep my focus, my mind racing with thoughts of Tom and the strange stone. Suddenly, Ryan stumbled, nearly falling into a hidden pit. I reached out to grab him, but the ground felt unstable, as if the forest was shifting beneath our feet. "Careful!" I shouted, pulling him back. "What is happening?" Sarah asked, panic creeping into her voice. "We need to get out of here." I nodded, urging them forward. We pressed on, hearts pounding in our chests, the oppressive atmosphere closing in around us. I glanced back, half expecting to see something lurking in the shadows. The whispers grew louder, almost taunting, as if the forest itself was mocking our fear. "Help me, find me," echoed through the trees, sending chills down my spine. We broke through the trees, and suddenly, the light felt blinding. We emerged into a clearing, the sunlight bathing us in warmth. It was a stark contrast to the darkness of the woods, but I couldn't shake the feeling that we had narrowly escaped something terrible. As we caught our breath, I turned to Ryan and Sarah. "We need to report this to the others. Tom is still out there." Sergeant Mitchell was waiting at the edge of the clearing, his expression grave. I was starting to worry. "What happened?" "We found a stone with strange markings," I explained, my voice shaking. "And we heard Tom's voice, there were whispers, and something was wrong in there." Sergeant Mitchell's eyes narrowed, skepticism evident. "The woods can play tricks on your mind, especially under stress. But if Tom is still missing, we'll organize another search." As we regrouped with the others, the reality of Tom's disappearance hung over us like a dark cloud. We had ventured into the woods as a team, but now we were fractured, haunted by the unknown. The second search party was larger, equipped with flashlights and additional supplies. We re-entered the woods, the atmosphere feeling more oppressive than before. The whispers began almost immediately, swirling around us like a fog. "Stay alert," Sergeant Mitchell instructed, his voice steady despite the tension. "We'll search systematically this time. Stick together." As we ventured deeper, the forest felt more like a living entity, the trees twisting and bending as if they were aware of our presence. Every snap of a twig sent shivers down my spine, and the air grew thick with anxiety. We reached the clearing where I had first encountered the stone, but it felt different now, charged with an energy that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I felt compelled to approach it again, but I hesitated, glancing back at the others. "We should keep moving," Ryan urged, sensing my hesitation. "Just a second," I replied, stepping closer to the stone. The markings seemed to shift under my gaze, alive with meaning. I reached out, drawn by an unseen force, but as my fingers brushed against the surface, a shock wave of energy surged through me. Visions flooded my mind, images of Tom, trapped and desperate, reaching out for help. I gasped, pulling back, overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment. The whispers grew louder, swirling around me, filling my mind with urgency. "Find him, they urged, a chorus of desperate voices. "Jake!" Ryan shouted, pulling me back to reality. "What's happening?" I stumbled back, shaken. "We have to find Tom. He's close, I can feel it." The urgency in my voice propelled us forward. We pressed deeper into the woods, the atmosphere growing heavier. Each step felt like a battle against the unseen force that seemed to want to keep us from our goal. The whispers guided us, leading us through the tangled underbrush until we reached another clearing. This one was smaller, shrouded in shadows. In the center stood another stone, similar to the first but different, its markings more intricate and swirling, as if alive. "I don't like this," Sarah said, her voice trembling. "It feels wrong." But I couldn't turn back. I felt an inexplicable pull toward the stone, a need to understand its significance. As I approached, the whispers grew louder, urging me closer. I could sense that Tom was nearby, the connection deepening. Suddenly, I heard it again, the faintest echo of Tom's voice, calling out for help. It was enough to push me forward, to reach out and touch the stone. As my fingers made contact, a surge of energy coursed through me, and the world around me shifted. Visions flooded my mind again, Tom trapped in a dark void, reaching out for help, his eyes filled with desperation. I could feel his fear, his longing for rescue. The whispers coalesced into a singular voice, urging me to act. "Help him!" I gasped, pulling away from the stone. "We have to keep going. He's close. We can't give up." The others exchanged glances, fear etched on their faces, but they followed my lead. We pressed on, the whispers guiding us deeper into the woods. The atmosphere felt charged, electric, and I sensed we were nearing something crucial. As we continued our search, the forest darkened around us. Shadows danced at the edges of our vision, and the whispers grew more insistent. I felt an overwhelming sense of dread, but I couldn't turn back. We had come too far. Finally, we stumbled upon a narrow path that seemed to lead into a darker part of the woods. I hesitated for a moment, a feeling of foreboding washing over me, but the urgency to find Tom pushed me forward. As we ventured down the path, the air grew colder, the whispers transforming into a cacophony of voices. They echoed around us, filling my mind with confusion and fear. I clenched my fists, trying to block them out. "Stay focused," Ryan urged, his voice steady despite the mounting tension. We reached another clearing, this one larger and more ominous. In the center stood a massive tree, ancient and twisted, its roots sprawling like gnarled fingers. I could feel a heavy energy radiating from it, an unsettling presence that made my skin crawl. Then, to my shock, I saw him, Tom, standing near the tree, his expression vacant, as if he were in a trance. Relief washed over me, but it was quickly replaced by fear. "Tom!" I called out, but he didn't respond. It was as if he couldn't hear me. I stepped closer, the whispers intensifying around me, urging me to approach. "Help me! Tom!" I shouted again, desperation lacing my voice. Suddenly, the whispers crescendoed, swirling around us like a storm. The air crackled with energy, and I felt an overwhelming force pushing against me. It was as if the forest itself was trying to protect Tom, to keep him from reaching us. "Jake, we need to get him!" Ryan shouted, but the energy was suffocating, pressing down on us. "Hold on!" I yelled, pushing against the unseen force. I reached out to Tom, desperate to break whatever hold the forest had on him. "Tom, you have to fight it. Come back to us." I pleaded, but he remained motionless, lost in whatever trance the forest had cast upon him. The shadows grew darker, swirling around the clearing. I felt panic rising within me. "We can't lose him. We have to pull him away." With renewed determination, I stepped forward, fighting against the energy that threatened to push me back. I grasped Tom's shoulder, shaking him gently. "Tom!" Wake up! In that moment, the shadows surged, and the whispers transformed into a deafening roar. It was chaos, a cacophony of voices demanding I turn back. But I held firm, focusing on Tom. Suddenly, he blinked, his eyes clearing. Jake? What? Where am I? Tom! We've been searching for you, I exclaimed, relief flooding through me. As he regained his senses, the energy around us shifted. The whispers began to fade, the shadows receding. I pulled him toward me, urging him to move. We need to get out of here, Ryan shouted, and together we led Tom away from the tree. As we made our way back through the woods, the atmosphere lightened, the oppressive feeling dissipating with each step. The whispers faded into the background, and I felt a sense of calm returning. We finally broke through the tree line, emerging into the clearing where our squad awaited us. Relief washed over the group as they saw Tom standing with us. Thank God you're back, one of the recruits exclaimed, rushing to Tom's side. What happened? Sergeant Mitchell asked, concern etched on his face. I don't know, Tom replied, his voice shaky. I was trying to navigate, and then everything went dark. I felt trapped. We shared our experiences, the whispers, the stone, and the tree, but I could see the doubt in their eyes. It was as if they couldn't comprehend the true nature of what we had encountered. Let's get back to camp, Sergeant Mitchell said, his tone resolute. We'll sort this out and ensure everyone is accounted for. As we walked back, the sense of unease lingered. I couldn't shake the feeling that the forest had tried to claim Tom, that it held secrets we would never understand. The whispers faded, but I knew they would haunt me, a reminder of the thin line between our world and something darker. Back at camp, the sense of normalcy felt jarring after everything we had experienced. The sun set, casting long shadows that danced across the ground, and I couldn't help but feel a lingering presence from the woods. Tom was safe, but the memory of his vacant expression haunted me. The whispers had echoed in my mind, a reminder of the dark force that lurked just beyond the edge of our understanding. As the days passed, the experience faded into the background, becoming a shared story among our squad. But for me, it was a constant reminder of the unseen dangers that lay hidden in the forest. I often found myself standing at the edge of the woods, staring into the depths, wondering what other secrets lay waiting. The whispers still echoed in my mind, urging me to return, to uncover the mysteries that lay hidden beneath the surface. But I knew better now. Some things are best left undiscovered, and the forest would forever hold its secrets close, waiting for the next curious soul to wander into its embrace. The memory of that day would stay with me, a haunting reminder of what lies beyond the veil of our understanding, a testament to the darkness that exists just beyond the trees.